All right, welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're unpacking some really interesting source material you sent over.
Yeah, this looks good.
It seems to be excerpts from maybe a coaching call, something like that, recorded audio anyway.
hmm
And it's tackling that big question so many business owners hit. Why am I stuck? Why isn't my business growing anymore?
The dreaded plateau. It's almost universal, isn't it?
Feels like it sometimes.
But what's great, I think, about the source material is it doesn't just, describe the problem. It actually offers a way to think about why it's happening
And how to fix it,
and
hopefully.
how to fix it exactly. So our mission here for this deep dive is really to pull out the key insights from this conversation about those frustrating stuck
And
points.
figure out the practical stuff, the steps they suggest for actually moving past them.
Right.
And, right away, one thing that jumped out at me from the source,
Hmm.
it's this idea that hitting a plateau, it's actually not failure,
That's a huge reframe.
isn't it? They position it as completely normal, predictable even, part of the journey.
Mm,
And the source even mentions specific revenue points where this tends to happen, like around $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month. Did you catch that?
I did, yeah. And that reframe is just so important, isn't it? Because think about it. You hit, say, 5 grand a month, things stall.
Yeah,
And it's so easy to think, oh, it's me, I'm doing something wrong. Or maybe I'm just not cut out for this.
totally. The self-doubt creeps in.
But the source makes a really strong case that usually at these specific points, it's a systems issue,
Okay.
not a personal failing.
Right.
It basically means the way you did things to get to $2,000,
Mm,
that system isn't going to cut it for 5,000.
right.
And the $5,000 system won't get you to 10,000 and, beyond.
Ah, okay. So that changes everything. Instead of blaming yourself,
Exactly.
you start looking for the broken part in the business machine, so to speak.
Right. You become a mechanic, not a failure.
Okay, I like that. So if it is a systems issue, what kind of breakdowns, what are the common things that, according to this source, tend to go wrong?
Well, the conversation seems to really zero in on three big areas where businesses get snagged when they're trying to scale up.
Three main culprits. Got it. What's number one?
The first one they talk about is a lack of, well, crystal clear clarity.
Clarity.
Yeah, clarity on what the actual bottleneck is that's holding things back.
Okay, lack of clarity sounds kind of simple, but I imagine it's actually pretty tricky in reality.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, what does the source say people think the problem is usually versus what it often really is?
This is where it gets quite insightful, I thought. The source points out that most business owners, their default assumption is, I need more leads.
Ah, the marketing problem. Always more marketing.
Right. If I just had more people finding me, more traffic, then I'd grow. So all the effort, all the money goes into lead generation.
Yep, chasing those clicks, those eyeballs. Seems like a standard playbook. Yeah.
It really does. But the source suggests that while, yeah, you need leads, that's often not the main thing holding you back at these specific plateau points.
Oh, interesting. So what is it then, if not leads?
Well, they give examples like
Mm-hmm.
maybe the offer itself isn't quite right. It's not compelling enough for the people you're trying to reach.
Okay.
Or maybe your sales process has, holes in it, it's leaky.
Mm-hmm.
Or, and this is a big one, maybe it's just really inefficient time management, internally.
So you could be pouring leads into a system that can't actually handle them.
Exactly. Or a system that just doesn't convert them effectively. It's like trying to fill a bucket that's got holes in it.
Right.
Pouring more water in isn't going to help until you patch the leaks.
That's a really good analogy. Wow. So you could waste years, tons of money on ads.
Absolutely.
When the real issue is maybe your offer isn't clear, or the price is wrong, or you just can't follow up properly.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So number one is getting clarity on the real bottleneck. Might be marketing, but check your offer, your sales process, your operations first.
Okay, clarity on the bottleneck. Makes sense. What's the second big area the source highlights?
The second major sticking point, going into this conversation, is a lack of leverage.
Leverage. Okay, tell me more. How are they defining leverage here?
So leverage, in this context, it means putting systems in place that let you kind of multiply your results without just working more hours.
Ah, okay. Doing more with less. Personal effort.
Exactly. Finding scalable ways to deliver your value. So this could mean delegation, right? Handing off tasks that someone else could do,
Even if you think you do them best.
especially then, sometimes. Or it could be automation using tech, software, tools to handle repetitive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or even just changing how you deliver your service, moving away from purely one-on-one time for money.
Right, like group programs or digital courses.
Exactly. Things that scale beyond your personal time input.
So it's really about stopping yourself from being the bottleneck, because if everything depends on just your hours, well, there are only so many hours in a day.
That's the hard limit, isn't it? The source really emphasizes this. What got you here, to this plateau, was probably you doing almost everything, being super hands-on.
Yeah, the hustle phase.
Right. But to get to the next level,
Yeah.
you simply can't keep doing it all. You need systems, you need leverage. That works for you, even when you're not directly involved.
And I bet there's resistance to that.
Oh, the source touches on that too. That feeling of, it's just faster if I do it myself.
Or no one can do it quite right.
Exactly. Or fear of losing control. But
Yeah.
that mindset, that itself becomes the bottleneck. That's the lack of leverage in action.
Okay. So we've got number one, lack of clarity on the real bottleneck. Number two, lack of leverage through systems delegation automation. What's the third one? You mentioned this earlier. It sounds like it's less about the how-to and more internal.
Yeah, this is where, for me, it gets really fascinating. The third critical area the source points to is uh, subtle belief systems.
Belief systems. Okay. Like mindset stuff.
Exactly. But maybe deeper, more unconscious sometimes.
Yeah.
The source basically argues that if deep down you don't truly believe you're ready well, for the success or the visibility or just the added complexity that comes with growing bigger, you will, without even realizing it, find ways to sabotage yourself.
Self-sabotage. Wow, that sounds, yeah, dramatic. But I can kind of see how hidden beliefs could mess things up. How does that actually look in practice, according to the source? And any examples?
Yeah, they get pretty specific and honestly quite relatable. They talk about clients who say they want more clients, more money, big growth.
The stated goal?
Right, but then their actions consistently prevent it. So maybe they're constantly over-delivering for free.
Oh, yeah. Bending over backward.
Exactly. Burning themselves out so badly they literally can't take on more work, even if it came. Or, another big one mentioned is consistently undercharging.
Undercharging. That one feels common.
Very. And the source connects it back to the belief system. It's like you're signaling to yourself and the market that your value isn't really high enough for that next income level you say you want.
So it ties right back to feeling maybe not ready or worthy of the higher prices and maybe the responsibility that comes with earning more.
Precisely. Other examples they give are things like procrastinating on launching that more scalable offer you've been planning.
Yeah, been there.
Or avoiding marketing activities that would make you more visible, shrinking back from chances to speak or get featured somewhere. Because deep down, the idea of being seen on a bigger stage feels, well, terrifying.
Overwhelming, maybe?
Yeah, or overwhelming. The source suggests the underlying belief might be something like, I'm not actually equipped for what that next level demands, or if I get too successful, what will people think? Or even just a fear of losing control as things get bigger.
Wow, okay. So this isn't just about spreadsheets and marketing plans. The source is really linking business growth directly to like personal growth, identity stuff.
It really is.
It sounds like the argument is who you see yourself as, what you believe you're ready for. That identity has to grow with the business.
Yes.
If your sense of self is stuck back at the $2,000 a month level, it's going to keep pulling the business back down if it tries to get much bigger than that.
That's beautifully put. The source frames it as, it's not just about working harder. It's about doing the right work, but also with the right internal alignment.
Yeah.
You could have the best leads, the perfect systems, but if your subconscious is whispering, hold up, I'm not ready for this, you'll find a way to stay put.
That's powerful stuff.
Okay.
So let's recap the problem areas from the source. Plateaus are normal. They're system issues, not personal failures. Often happen around those $5K, $10K marks.
Yeah.
And they usually stem from one of three things. Not being clear on the real bottleneck.
Lack of clarity.
Not having enough leverage through systems and maybe delegation.
Lack of leverage.
Or these sneaky, subtle belief systems causing self-sabotage.
Exactly. Those hidden barriers.
Okay. So given all that, what does the source suggest we can actually do about it? Like, what are some practical first steps someone listening could take maybe this week to start tackling these?
Yeah, the conversation moves into that, which is great. It suggests starting with two really tangible actions, things that can give you insights pretty quickly.
Okay, practical steps. Love it.
First one is conduct a rigorous time audit.
A timeout? You mean like tracking every single minute? Oh man, that sounds
Tedious. Yeah, I know.
totally tedious.
But the source explains why it's so powerful. It's not about judging yourself or aiming for perfection. It's about honest observation.
Okay.
Just track where your time actually goes for, say, a week, maybe 2. The goal is just to see the patterns.
Right. Where's it really going?
Yeah. Are you spending hours on stuff that, honestly, someone else could do or that software could handle?
Yeah.
Are you stuck in busy work that feels productive but isn't actually moving the needle on revenue or growth?
Ah, the busy work trap.
Exactly. The source says most people are genuinely shocked when they see the data on where their time evaporates.
Okay, that makes sense. It forces
Right.
you to face whether your feeling of I don't have enough time is real or if you're just inefficient
Yeah.
or clinging to tasks you shouldn't be doing.
Right. It helps clarify the bottleneck. Maybe the bottleneck is you and your time,
Yeah.
and it definitely highlights where you could build in more leverage.
So it hits clarity and leverage. Nice. Okay, time audit. What's the second practical step?
The second thing the source really pushes is to refine your offer.
Refine the offer. Okay, what does that mean exactly, according to them?
Well, the source is pretty blunt about this. If your product or service isn't super clear in its value
Mm-hmm.
and isn't genuinely, like, irresistible to your ideal customer,
Mm.
then trying to scale up your marketing is just pushing water uphill. It's super inefficient.
Right. Trying to sell something people aren't really grabbing for.
Exactly. So refining means getting really honest. Does this offer solve a real painful problem? For a specific group, is the outcome, the transformation, totally clear?
Hmm.
And is it packaged in a way that makes the right person say, oh yeah, I need that?
Mm-hmm. So it's not just what you sell, but how you package it, price it, talk about it, making sure it hits home for the right people.
Precisely.
And the conversation mentions a specific, often kind of uncomfortable part of refining the offer too, right? Prices.
It does, yeah. Raising prices comes up.
Uh-huh.
And the source frames it not just as, a way to make more money,
Which is nice.
which is definitely nice,
Yeah.
but often as a symptom check.
Uh-huh.
It ties back to those belief systems.
Ah, okay.
Underpricing, they argue, usually isn't some clever strategy. It's often a sign that the owner doesn't fully believe in their own value or the value their offer provides. So, the conversation suggests that being willing to actually raise your prices can be a really necessary step, not just for the bank account, but as a way to solidify your own belief in your worth and the maturity of what you're offering.
Wow, okay. That really connects all the dots, doesn't it? The beliefs, the clarity of the offer, the potential for more revenue. Okay. So, pulling it all together, maybe the most hopeful thing from this source material, the big takeaway, is this idea that scaling, it's not magic. It's not something you're just born with.
That's exactly it. What's really empowering, I think, is the source's strong stance that scaling is a skill. It's teachable. It's learnable.
Like learning an instrument or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
learning a language, mastering a craft.
Mhm.
It's something you can acquire. So if you're stuck, you're not bad at business.
Right.
You're probably just facing challenges that need a different skill set or a different approach that you maybe haven't learned or put into practice yet.
Yet. I like that yet. But there's a catch, right?
Uh,
The source also emphasizes something crucial.
yes. The key thing they stress is that while it is learnable, it absolutely requires a willingness to change,
Ah, letting go.
letting go. You have to be willing to shed the habits, the systems, or maybe the lack of systems, and sometimes even the beliefs that got you to this current plateau.
Because those are the very things holding you back now.
Precisely. What worked to get you started, to get to $2K, simply won't work to get you to $10K or $50.
Yeah.
What worked when it was just you won't work when you need a team or automation.
So that willingness to adapt, to evolve,
Yeah.
that's the real key. Maybe more than the actual tactics.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
That seems to be the underlying message. The willingness to change is frequently the biggest hurdle, maybe more so than learning the new system itself.
Hmm.
Which, kind of leaves us with a really interesting question for you, the listener, to think about building on all this.
Okay.
If scaling is a skill, something that definitely can be learned, what old ways of doing things, what comfortable habits, maybe even what subtle beliefs that you're barely aware of, what might you be holding on to right now? What might you be clinging to that's actually stopping you from learning and applying that skill and finally breaking through to whatever that next level looks like for you?
That is, yeah, that's a really profound question to sit with. Wow. This deep dive, I mean, it's given us a lot to think about. Plateaus are normal system issues, not personal flaws.
Right. Hitting around those common revenue marks.
Yeah, $2K, $5K, $10. And growth stalls usually because of fuzzy clarity on the real problem.
Or not enough leverage.
Right, through delegation or tech. or those sneaky belief systems tripping you up.
That self-sabotage piece.
And the way forward, according to this source, often starts with really practical stuff, like that time audit.
Get honest about where the time goes.
And really dialing in your offer, making it irresistible, maybe even raising your prices as part of that.
And remembering that final point.
Yeah.
According to this source, scaling is learnable. It's a skill,
Yeah.
but it demands that willingness to change how you operate.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing these sources with us and letting us dig into them like this.
My pleasure. Really interesting stuff.
Definitely. So keep exploring these ideas, see how they apply to your own situation, and we'll catch you on the next deep